Yo, what's up, guys? Your boy Mike here again, coming at you with another video of the Mike podcast. Today we have Monday's monologue. Every day we're just gonna do a little monologue here, and we're gonna recap the stuff that's going on in our great country. You know what I mean? But first, we'll start off with a recap of my weekend. How was everybody's weekend? Hope everybody had a nice weekend. We are getting closer and closer to the start of summer. And more importantly, Memorial Day. You know what I mean? I think Memorial Day is officially the start of the summer. You know what I mean? Kids are getting out of school. You know, little by little, each day we have more good news about the pandemic and all this bullshit that derailed everybody's lives. All for a political agenda. And today we'll go over why that is. And and to the reason why I became such a nut job when it comes to talking about politics and the corruptness of medicine and that weasel Dr. Fauci, man. Every time I hear that guy talk, dude, his voice. Have you heard his voice? Well, I can't do this stupid uh, Brooklyn accent or whatever the hell he is. It's just so annoying. Anyways, that flip flopper. You know what I mean? And but like I said, we'll talk about that in a bit. First, though, my weekend. You know, let's be honest, guys. I'm 32 years old now. I don't got enough time to deal with any bullshit anymore. Basically, all I do is take care of my body, take care of my mind, take care of my family, and the rest I do not want to hear it. You know what I mean? I don't want to waste time wasting money, going to Target or or even going to restaurants. Really, you know what I mean? I still do go to restaurants, but I've been cooking a lot more. You know what I mean? And my diet is simple, right? Every day in the mornings, it's my protein pancakes. Right after I work out, come home, have my protein pancakes, and then after that, later on during the day, I have a salad, a chicken salad with some egg whites, some strawberries, pecans, some cheese. Try to keep it very glycemic index friendly, let's just say. And it started to rain. Wow, okay, good. You know what I mean? I could use this rain. My grass was looking a little dry. But anyways, yeah, man. So, you know, I make sure my diet is on point. If you could tell here, I'm kind of leaning out here a little bit. Which is, I mean, I still have a little bit of a little, belly here or that. But our trip to Cancun is coming up soon, so make sure we'll have to be cutting down on the carbs for that. You know what I mean? Obviously, over there, I'm not gonna be a total carb Nazi when we're over there, but for the most part, we will. Don't you hate all these robocalls? For the most part, we will try and keep it clean. But anyways, so yeah, keep a clean diet. I go work out in the mornings, go do a WOD, go make sure I work on my strength. Like I said earlier in another video, my goal for this year is going to be to try and touch the rim of the basketball court, right? I'm going to be doing different exercises, all for the benefit of strengthening my legs and hopefully increasing my vertical. I'm not saying it's going to happen, right? Obviously, I'm a shorty. So, but to try and get as close as I can, just to give myself a goal, keep myself motivated in order to keep on going and getting these sessions in. Because if you don't really have a goal to, to work out or whatever, like let's just say you go to the gym just because, you don't want to be fat anymore. That's not specific enough. Like that's not really how athletes train. If you look at athletes, right, they're the best, best shape of their life, and that's because they have a reason to train. They want to be the best at whatever it is that they want to do. They have a very specific reason why they train. So therefore, my specific reason, I'm not a professional athlete or whatnot. I could have said I want to get down to 8% body fat, right? but that's not specific enough, and that's not motivating enough. You know what I mean? At some point, when it gets down to it, my body's gonna be like, hey man, you need to get some carbs in, and the goal of just being at 8% body fat is not gonna cut it. You know what I mean? So therefore, like I said, the goal is going to be to try and touch the rim, which is a 10-foot vertical, right? Or not 10-foot vertical, but jump high enough to touch a 10-foot target, right? I'm not gonna measure the fucking actual vertical of my feet leaving the ground and measuring with my hands and all that. So don't ask me that. But like I said, that's gonna be the goal, and that's honestly all I do. And I come back home, try to work on scouring the internets and Twitters and all that stuff, and finding some funny memes for everybody, and just some information that I think would be cool to listen to. Obviously I don't want to make this pod a lot about politics. I don't want to turn a lot of people off, because I know that can be a thing where even I get turned off sometimes, right? Like certain people I follow on YouTube or Instagram, whatever. It's just like, I don't want to hear it today. You know what I mean? I want to keep it positive. I want to keep it motivating. But it's hard with the year that we just had and the outright corruption that is going on. You know what I mean? And little by little, Bill Gates, Fauci, all these fuckers are going down. You know what I mean? Maybe not, right? Because all these, especially with Joe Biden in as a president, he probably won't do shit, but we'll see, hopefully. But anyways, I come home, I read a little bit. I always want to get some reading in. The last book I finished reading was The Dip by Seth Godin, which was very good. Basically, it's a book about knowing when to quit, right? Like there's always, whenever you start a new endeavor, a new thing you want to get good at, you always start off really motivated, right? And things are well for like a week, maybe 2 weeks if you're lucky. And then after that, it starts getting hard, right? Especially like, for example, me, like podcasting or doing photography, or let's just say, something like that, or even working out, right? It's very easy to get started, right? Because the motivation is there, right? But you have to fall back on your systems, because if you have no systems, you're gonna fall back on your bad habits, which is being lazy and not accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish. And that is the dip, right? That's what's called the dip. If you can survive the dip, essentially he's saying, then you are more, your possibilities of making it in whatever it is that you're going to do, become that more apparent. That's why athletes, all these people, right, that are super good at what they do, they went through a dip, right? And because a lot of people are good at whatever it is they do, but some people don't want to go through the dip and don't survive the dip, right? And that's how Michael Jordan and all these people that you consider the greatest of all time, they work through the dip. They say to themselves, the dip is worth it, right? The pain and the suffering of this. The fuck? I think my dog is throwing up over there. He's fine. He's okay. He just has a fur ball sometimes. Is it worth it to you, to go through this pain and suffering, right? If it's not, then obviously you quit, right? So he recommends, obviously, if it's not worth it for you, then quit, and quit often, right? Until you find that thing that you're willing to suffer for, that you're willing to go through the dip for, but realize that the dip is there. You know what I mean? And with everything, and he was talking about like med school also, like kids who take this organic chemistry, right? That class is usually what's called the weed out class, right? You will truly know if you want to go to medical school if you take organic chemistry and you actually survive that class. People get weeded out once they take organic chemistry because they realize they're not willing to go through the pain and suffering of going through fucking science like that for the rest of the next 10 years of their lives. You know what I mean? Because it's hard, you know, especially looking at graphs and reactions and math and all these things, right? Is it worth it to you? You know, and so once you get past the dip, right? If you do, then is this challenging? You know, is this keeping you motivated? Is this bringing you to a higher frequency, vibration, right? And for me, you know, like I said, my current job, it's hard, man, because I don't longer identify with any of the mainstream anything. You know what I mean? And that also includes medicine. Medicine, man, like especially this last year when I saw doctors not wanting to go into the COVID units, that's when I knew this field is not for me, because the doctors are supposedly, you know, and even some nurses, I'm not saying, you know, nurses in general, but I saw several doctors, man. They didn't want to go into the COVID units, and they never did. You know what I mean? And you know, and you're supposed to become a doctor because you want to save lives, and when, just like in the army or the military, when you're called upon to do your job, are you going to do your job? And to me, I don't think these doctors did. I think a lot of people died unnecessarily. You know what I mean? Because we were running codes, you know, in the units, in the COVID units without doctors. You know what I mean? Because they were just being little bitches. You know what I mean? And that's when I knew, man, that, you know, nurses who look up to doctors, I don't look up to doctors. I'm sorry, man. You know, I look up to people. You know what I mean? If you're a good person, I look up to you. There's some doctors that are good people. But even some people that I thought were good, and then COVID came, then I realized that, maybe this person isn't as good as I thought. You know what I mean? So it was a litmus test for a lot of people, you know. And for me, never once was I really afraid of getting COVID or anything like that. I just went in there and I did my job, whatever the fuck, who cares, right? Let's do this. But a lot of people died, not from COVID, but because of medical negligence. You know what I mean? And the worst part is that people don't believe you. Me, you know, like they still don't think that that's why people were dying. You know, they still believe everything that people tell them. Doctors, the primary care physicians here that work at little clinics there. You know what I mean? It's like these doctors don't know shit, man. Like, honestly, shit, the fuck, I have a pimple there. A family medicine doctor knows nothing about being a hospitalist doctor. You know what I mean? Taking care of actively dying people. Family, not family, hospitalist doctors don't know how to take care of dying people. You have to have this ICU doctor that's specialized in taking care. They call it intensivists, to take care of dying people. And those were the people that were refusing to go into the COVID units. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, man, you know what I mean? So if it were up to me, I would have quit nursing 2 years ago. Actually, more than that. Because but this COVID year, really, this last gig that I took, which was 3 months in New Jersey, you know, I was like, you know, this is going to be my last hoorah, man. I'm going to get this money and I'm going to get the fuck out. You know, hopefully that's the case. You know, obviously I have to pay for shit, so we'll see. Maybe minimizing the amount of time that I actually have to be a nurse. The good thing about nursing is that you only have to work 3 days, right? That's considered full time. But, you know, that those 3 days really kick your ass. So maybe doing it 1 day a week, you know, 4 days a month, essentially, that'll be enough, I think, to pay my bills, and it'll give me enough time to look at other stuff, hopefully dedicate myself more to making videos and stuff like that, you know. Um, so so we'll see. But as far as what else I would dedicate myself to, I don't know yet. But yeah, we're slowly figuring that out little by little. If I don't give myself this time to figure stuff out, and I never will, and I'm just gonna be a cog in the machine, and I don't want to do that. That's another reason why I haven't had kids really. You know what I mean? Like me and my wife, like we haven't, you know, gotten that, I guess, motivation to do it because we're still trying to figure shit out a little bit. But everybody is trying to do that, right? I'm not saying anybody has anything figured out, obviously. So that's not an excuse, you know what I mean? Hopefully later that will happen. But for now, you know, we have bigger fish to fry, and that's what we're gonna concentrate on. Um, but yeah, man, this weekend, like I said, I worked out. It was my dad's birthday, so we went to go eat at this place called La Hacienda de Mariposas. It's here on Ware in McAllen. It was alright. You know, it wasn't like good. Essentially, there was nothing special about that restaurant. Let's just say that. You know, there's no. I'm telling you right now, you don't need to go. The restaurant in front of it, you have more reason to go there. It was called some taqueria or something, El Rodeo. It's right in front, and I would tell you to go more there. There's more vibe there. You know what I mean? Here, La Hacienda, they're just gonna fuck you. You know what I mean? The tab was ridiculous for the food that we got. It was nothing special. You know, it was I think it was Mexican dishes mostly that they did, but it was not worth the tab that we got at the end, which I ended up paying a shitload of money. But it's okay because it's my dad's birthday. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna fret too much about that. And yeah, man. Oh, so anyways, so then Sunday also, um, you know, just spent my whole time, I guess, again, you know, working out, eating right, doing all that stuff. And but yeah. So anyways, today, Monday, May 24th, we have that retard Fauci. Today, finally, he says that he admits that the COVID, um, the COVID virus could have originated from a laboratory. And I know, you know what I mean. Who cares, right? Like, who cares where this fucking thing came from, right? First, they were saying it was a bat. Somebody ate a bat, right? It was coming from that. Now, and so, but I'll tell you why it's important. You know, cause for a long time I didn't care either, but then I started seeing really why this is important. It is because for the longest time, our last president, Donald Trump, and I didn't vote for Donald Trump, you know what I mean? Um, in the first election, I did vote for him the second election just because of what I'm about to tell you. Everything he was saying was correct about the coronavirus. I've always thought that the Chinese let it out because of the protest in Taiwan. I think they wanted to get rid of the protesters, right? And what better way than to release a biochemical weapon? You know what I mean? And people still don't say that this was done intentionally, obviously, because the Biden administration is essentially funded by the Chinese. Even though the Chinese constantly fucking just talk down to Biden and all of them, they're still there trying to suck at the teat of the Chinese. I'm not saying the Chinese are bad, but what I am saying is that they have their own agenda, which doesn't coincide with the best interest of the American people. And so I think that they released the virus because they wanted to get rid of those protests in Taiwan. If you remember, at the end of 2019, all 2019 actually, there was a protest going on because Taiwan was going to be given back to the Chinese from the British after 100 years of being essentially independent. And the Chinese were going to take over. They were going to start, implementing their communist ideas, and so the people there were protesting that, and it was every day. There were just massive protests, and once the virus started, you didn't hear of any of this protest ever again. So I think that's why they did it, right? They might have gone secretly out of their way to make it seem like it was an accident. You know what I mean? But that's the only plausible explanation that I can come up with. Maybe their intent wasn't to affect the whole fucking world. Maybe it was just to affect those people that were protesting. But it ended up being this clusterfuck, and so Donald Trump was saying that it was the Chinese, this and that. He didn't say why though, right? He just kept on saying that. And what did they do? They labeled him as a racist, right? And so the media and all these people who are in power, the reason they hated Donald Trump was because he wasn't a part of their little power grab, right? The media and all these Democrats and these people, Republicans too, who are in the system, they want this power grab, right? Because not even the Republicans wanted Donald Trump, right? And so they dedicated themselves to get this man out of office for 4 years. And finally, when the coronavirus hit the table, they knew they had the winning ticket to essentially destroy him. And it was all like winning the lotto. They won the lottery. They had the perfect thing to get Donald Trump out of office, and they ran away with it. You know what I mean? They didn't let it go. They kept on running stories, and it resulted in this fucking I guess it resulted in last year. You know what I mean? Which nothing was done right. When they were giving remdesivir, you know what I mean? When remdesivir cost $1,500 per bottle, right? Instead of giving other types of medication, and just last week, right? You saw people who are coming out with $1 million worth of expenses for their hospital stays for being diagnosed with COVID. You know what I mean? And so, anyways, man, that's why this is important, because for the whole time that Donald Trump was saying that this was done by China, the Democrats and the mainstream media just said that it can't be, that he's a racist for saying that it was a Chinese virus, all these things. And now Fauci is basically saying what Donald Trump was saying, that it's looking more and more, right? Like, it's looking more and more like this virus was possibly made in a lab, right? And it's just, you have to throw your hands up, and it's like, what the fuck, you asshole. We were fucking telling you this at the very beginning. You know what I mean? And that's why it's important, because it was all a cover up. It was all a cover up to get Donald Trump out of office and to get this mail-in voting, right? When fucking not even who the fuck was it? I think Britain, right? They are now making mail-in voting illegal, right? Like, you have to show ID in order to vote now in Britain, right? And here it's they say it's racist if you have to provide an ID. You know what I mean? And that's what the Democrats wanted. That's what they pushed, right? If you denied people the mail-in voting, then you were essentially being racist, right? Because of people that can't go to the post office for some reason, then they can't vote. And if you require voter ID, then you're a bigger racist, because there's some people that can't have ID for whatever the fuck reason, right? But everybody has an ID because everybody drinks alcohol. To get into a club, everybody's gone to a club, and if you want to get into a club, you need ID. most fucking people in this country has done one of those two things: bought alcohol or gone to a club. Therefore, the only plausible explanation that to say that why they don't want ID is because they're fucking coming up with votes that don't really exist. And that's why they wanted this mail-in voting system, right? And that's why they took so long to count all the votes and all this shit, right? Anyways, whatever. That's the first thing that I wanted to go over today. Fucking Fauci, flip-flopper, like I said. LeBron James has also said that he is not going to specify whether he will take the vaccine in the future, because as of now, he hasn't taken it yet either. All he said was this mumbo jumbo about that he's gonna do what's best for him and his family, that he's gonna try and keep himself healthy, and he's gonna do the best decision that he can, like I said, to keep his family safe. But whether he'll comment on whether he'll get the vaccine or not, he just basically said no comment. He's not gonna say, which basically is saying he's not gonna take it. He's not gonna take the vaccine. And a bunch of NBA players are also saying that they're not going to take the vaccine. You know what I mean? The CEO of Pfizer hasn't taken the vaccine. He's the fucking guy. He's the guy that makes us fucking mad. And he doesn't want to take it. You know what I mean? Fact check me on that if you want. Fact check me on the LeBron James thing. But yeah, dude, you know what I mean? And now they're saying that obviously, not obviously, but if you've had the vaccine, you can't donate plasma, right? Because they want natural immune people to give their plasma for the convalescent plasma, right? Which convalescent plasma basically is super plasma, let's just say, from people who have recovered from the virus, and now their plasma is worth literally gold, right? But if you haven't had the vaccine, then if you have had the vaccine, then your plasma is worthless, because obviously a synthetic way of protecting yourself rather than a natural way is not ideal, and they know that. So you say, Mike, how can you be a nurse and be against the vaccine? Well, that's because I see that this whole time, this wasn't about health. This was about making money, and it was about changing an election. If you ever watched the movie Narcos, the show Narcos, they have this, the Narcos have this elaborate plan to change the result of the election to get the person that they want elected to win the presidency, right? And I think that's what happened here. It was just a big ploy, and nurses were used in order to push an agenda, a political agenda that had nothing to do with health, on people, and make other people who would disagree with that plan of care, make them out to look like complete psychopaths and conspiracy theorists. And that's why sometimes I'm afraid to say certain things, you know what I mean? Because, people are going to think, but whatever, I'm done, caring about that. I'm going to say what I saw, and I'm going to say what I believe is the truth. You know what I mean? And it's not the same truth that all these other woke nurses, woke doctors are telling you about the vaccine. You know what I mean? So anyways, I believe more in a holistic sense of health, right? And more I'm discovering that actual modern medicine is just a bunch of bullshit. You know what I mean? Anyways, so yeah. Let me know what you guys think. That was my little Monday monologue. Try to keep that 30 minutes. And I'll come back at you hopefully this week with another video. Hopefully tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, with another monologue. So I'll catch you guys later. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you have any questions. Send me a DM, and I'll catch you guys later.